Hi there guys, I thought I'd invite you into the Earth Lodge. I'm sitting here and I'm currently working on a knife blade from a chunk of flint. This is the piece of flint and this is the blade, and it came from here. That's where we currently are. Anyway, we'll pop that down for a second. And what we're dealing with here is we're dealing with a progressive point where I now have a choice, either to leave it as it is or push my luck a bit. So this video is going to be about pushing my luck and thinning that down a little bit more. And what that involves is good platform preparation and probably quite a light and fast soft hammer to cast some more flakes off and just balance this right out. It's at this stage that things often go wrong, meaning that you could possibly snap it in half. But that's the territory. It doesn't go away, that's just flint knapping. This will be the chosen soft hammer. And to do some platform preparation and get the platforms just right, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use the little copper tipped pressure flaker, and well, we'll see how that works out. So hopefully I've brought you in nice and close enough so you can see what's going on. And I'm going to start over on this back corner where there's a little bit of a well, we call them diamonds. There's an edge at the edge of the stone, like a little diamond, and I'm going to clip that off. You can do it with a hammer stone, but this way makes it slightly easier. It's not that it makes it easier, it makes it more perfect. And everything we do now needs to have some level of perfection to it. Just removing the concept of anything going wrong. So now we'll give that a little bit of abrasion. It just makes it stronger. And we turn that, so that's the platform, look, just here. I'm going to turn that and we're going to grab this quite tightly and give it a little swipe. And now what we have is we have one nice little removal from there. And what we can do is we can progress along this edge now. The next place I'd like to hit it is around about here, which will expand out and take another little flake that looks kind of like that. So it's not huge. It's the kind of case, the situation is that you want everything to work, and if it doesn't, it dramatically reduces the look of the piece. So it can either look awesome or it can look alright. And well, we want it looking awesome. So a lot of people would kind of consider pressure flaking to be more used only when you're making arrowheads, but when you're really refining a dagger to get it to a higher level, then this is a good idea really. So you can see once again what we're doing is we're getting this edge ready. And we turn it over. Give that a little swipe, that worked out alright. Now these are hinging. What that means is that flake has made the journey to there, and then as you can see it buttresses, which isn't entirely what I wanted. Now I've got two choices. I either try and get it from the other side, but there's a little hinge here, or I can refit that flake like it is and give that another little smack. And what that did is, if you look there, it kind of destroyed the first flake, but it used the first flake as a pressure flaker to cast out a bit further beyond it. So it's not an ideal solution, but it's okay. And then we're just going to take a couple of little short flakes next to that, and you can make them shorter just by leaning that down a little and come back and pick up in between here. And then we'll move along again. Like I said, this sort of bit comes at a huge risk of snapping the thing in half. All the flakes doing what they just did, and it might as well have snapped in half anyway. But this is the bit where, you know, you're just pushing your luck. I've never seen anything other than that. You can't guarantee the outcome of this stuff. The worst thing you can do is underswipe, meaning you don't hit it hard enough. I knew it would go eventually, look. And that's gone across there. That's a really helpful little flake. And this little bit just here, which is the sort of section between the two flakes, what we can actually do with that is just turn that over and push that off. Sort of like pressure flaking, and that's not looking too bad. And now we need this one. It's kind of freestyle flaking really, much better than just pressure flaking. Gives you a whole different look about a piece. And then once again we tidy up that area. It's a bit nerve-wracking. But it's quite important not to be hanging on to the outcome of things too much. You have to sort of, you know that you're going to go for it anyway, so that's what we're up to. Analysing through there. It's getting pretty thin. What we're doing now is we're kind of rotating the platform to go after some stuff on the other side. And what I mean by that is when you look at this edge right here, this is currently set up and it leans over that way for casting flakes this side. Now I'm moving the edge back, which is where I quote rotating the edge. I'm moving the edge over to this side so I can flake off of here. So this little bit of flint, it's been laying around me for some time now. I kept looking at it and I knew it would make quite a nice blade core because it's a bit of a block. But I just felt compelled to try and make something of a high standard, a biface from it, which is what this is. A reasonably high standard. Just because it's such a nice piece of flint. And I think them two flakes came off nicely, so what we're going to do is a little bit of pressure flaking either side of them two flakes. If you've watched my videos before, you'll know that there's plenty of videos out there that I've made which teach you how I go about starting out. And the reason that I don't always spend too much time videoing this level is because it's a bit slow. It's a bit like a slow reel. There's not an awful lot happening. It's very slow and kind of like, unless you're into the craft, then you might find it a little bit unwatchable. But there you go. I thought I'd stick the video on. Quite often quoted as fairly nail biting to watch. I think another little one across here. Working up at the tip is a pretty dangerous well, it's not dangerous to me, it's dangerous to the outcome, because the risks go through the roof if it's snapping or just swiping the tip off. So I don't need an awful lot of material from just here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pressure flake that, just because I want it to work out. So even with pressure flaking, I've just taken a small amount of the tip off, but I can live with that because we can put it back we can reconstruct a tip. And there's, I don't know if you can see, there's hardly anything left in terms of material to even take there now. But I need a few more bold flakes. I need something bold from here. So we're going to go after that now. That looks reasonably well located. So now we'll abrade that. I think the abrasion is something that confuses people. It's like, why do you do that? It makes it stronger, and quite often you're shaping it as well. On this occasion, because I did the shaping with the pressure flaking, just making it stronger, meaning that when this does come into contact with it, it's not just going to be a frail impact. It's got some it can grab it and it can cast. How did that go? That went well, went really well. But I need one further along. That one went well. And we'll just do a little bit more work on this platform. So there's 3 or 4 stages to get to here. Firstly, you have to get control of a random shape in the first place. That's called, well, gaining control. Then you've got roughing out, which is sort of like getting the basic shape going. And then you've got the thinning. And the finishing. So in some respects I'm moving from the thinning into the finishing. And there's not a lot here to go for, but there is some here to go for. So what we'll do is we'll rotate that platform again now. But also, one of the things we'll do is we'll tidy up back here a bit. It's nice to keep things looking a bit tidy as you go. And interestingly, I haven't really explained it very well, but this area of the flint is very, very flat at the moment. So by taking the little tiny short flakes out, what I'll do is I'll make this more oval at this area. By doing that, that strengthens the idea of casting a flake out into that area a little bit later. Because if it's flat, then the beginning of the flake is going to be really, really thin and unsuitable for pushing stuff out further into the centre of the actual piece. There's the term of phrase is ovate, and ovate, the phrase ovate actually means oval. So if you've got flat spots, the flat spots are going to deny you the entry across the piece of flint that you're looking for. That was good. And that was good. Probably one more. That was good. And I'll push it on down a little bit further as well. And anyone who knows about napping knows how much I'm pushing my luck right now. There's a term of phrase called make it to break it, but I'm not actually hoping to break it. But you have to do a bit of that on your journey to become a decent flint napper, because from that you get to know how far you can push your luck and what with. So, you know, using a really light and fast soft hammer is the best way to progress with something as delicate as this. They're kind of going to want some stuff. In certain respects, it looks quite a lot out of balance now, because it's thin in areas and not very thin, not completely thin in others. There is an industry titled the Solutrean period, which is around about, it's a French phrase, and the quote is the Solutrean culture, and about 11,000 years ago in France they were napping some spearheads, and they got really good at making them. I don't know whether there was just a few nappers that reached this standard, but 11,000 years ago they're making spearheads which were bigger than this, like this much longer, and as thin as this, even thinner, like 5mm thick. An insane amount of skill going in. Much thinner than a spearhead would actually need to be, and in fact it would make it vulnerable to being snapped, and they would have known that. So it actually shows you that they were doing the napping for a reason beyond its purpose. They were actually testing their own skill sets and pushing the boundaries of being able to craft such a thing, which is pretty awesome to actually understand that. There's a few hinged little attempts there, which is the kind of stuff I'm generally avoiding happening. I'd kind of like to get something out of here now. And this area that I'm pushing into now is a little bit on the flat side, so it does have the risk of hinging out on the surface, but I'm going to go for it anyway. Yeah, as I thought, though, it didn't come off quite as well as I'd dreamt of it coming off, but just tied in through the edge now. So we'll try and recondition this tip a bit now. Forming that bit that came off, reforming the bit that came off. Which means taking the whole edge over a little. And tidy up in there. This area here looks a bit scatty, so what I'm going to do with that is we're going to go after that now. Not quite sure if I'm frying your brain or not. But it was working at that level that I was missing for many years. You know, right from being a kid up until about the age of 20, I was trying to make fine things and just never getting there. And that was because I was denying myself the ability to either push my luck or see in detail the changes I need to make. So there came a point when I knew that I had to up my game a bit to get to this standard. So the outcome of this is we'll just finish that right up, and I'm feeling that this needs a nice little wooden handle, and using some pine pitch glue and some stinging nettle binding to give that a real nice primitive look, which is what I'm going to push on to do. So I've just notched out the bottom of the sides of this a little bit. I'm not unhappy with that. It's got one or two little hinges on the surfaces, but all said and done, at this stage we're not going to get them out, so I'm going to leave that at that and get a handle on now. So I pushed on. I didn't bother filming it because I used modern tools. I thought that was a bit pointless, and I've used a bit of English yew, set some nettle fibre in around each end, giving it a burnt look both ends, and glued it in with some pine resin pitch. All said and done, that's not a bad outcome, and it's nice and thin. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you learnt a little, and I'll look forward to putting some more videos together soon. Maybe change the subjects about a bit and give you something enjoyable to watch. So you've been watching Will Lord, and hopefully you're subscribing by now. If not, do us a favour, hit your subscribe buttons, and take you on some new journeys. Cheers.